Michael, we are live. How are you doing
I
today?
am super duper Martin. Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm a little bit sick, so please excuse me for my weird voice. I have a cold right now, which is weird
How can we tell
because
the difference between a weird voice and a French accent, though?
it starts there. Okay. Okay.
Did I win tonight at least?
No, that's just
No,
the
I'm still not
first.
winning.
That's just the first attack. So let's see how many we can do.
It's just the first attack vector.
Exactly, exactly.
Well, we know from the weekend, Cyril Gahn, pretty good attack vector.
Amazing, amazing.
We know French people can fight. Now we know that for
Exactly,
sure.
exactly.
Okay, let's stop the shenaniganry. Let us welcome everybody. Are we live, Martin?
Yes. What I've
Let us welcome everybody to AGTP Daily. You know, we are live. We go live every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time to discuss the most important tech stories, tech topics in the US. It's Tuesday. It's the 16th of February. 16th of February. What am I doing? It's not February. It's June. What am I doing in February?
And when you say that, I checked the date, 16,
I know you
and not
did.
the month. I was like,
Not the month. You're just like, is it the 16th?
exactly.
The February thing you can do without. It's the 16th of June, 2026. Why did I say February? What's going on? Okay. As always, Martin, there's a lot going on. I want to talk about, earlier this year, Anthropic said that they were going to change their subscription limits. And there were some people out there, some of them were French, who said that this was probably not going to happen. We'll have that conversation.
Yeah, let's beach.
And, there are other French people that say that the winners here in the AI race are going to be those that have infrastructure. I think the second story that we're going to talk about today, Microsoft turns to AWS for AI capacity, kind of corroborates that. We'll get to that too.
Great.
And let's just jump right into this. So, do you want to drive here? Do you want me to give some data here? Do you want me to give some information?
Please go. You can start.
I'll go. You can jump in whenever you want. So, Anthropic, as you know, had planned to change how Claude Agent SDK and third-party apps built on Agent SDK are counted against the paid Claude subscriptions.
And that was 1 month ago, exactly 1 month. Mid-May.
Yeah, and they said everything was going to change on June 15th, and today's June 16th, but it's June 15th in the United States. So if you woke up this morning and got an email from Claude that said, "Oh, never mind, by the way, never mind, we're not going to change anything."
Yeah.
It seemed like a good idea at the time, but we realized it's not a great idea. But the idea was that they were going to stop drawing the usage from the normal subscription rate limits and move it into a separate monthly Agent SDK credit, right?
Yes. Basically, that means that all the usage that we could do through the subscription, right? If we're only we're only included through the Code app or the Cloud.ai websites. Everything else that we build around that using what they call basically the Cloud P, like here, that's basically like
Claude minus P, yeah.
Cloud minus P. It's basically
just a command line thing.
Yeah, that's the terminal command to call Claude programmatically. So which means every time you use an orchestrator like Hermes, OpenClaw, or your own themes that you've built, you call Claude minus P to actually call the AI to do things for you, right? So all the agentic stuff runs via Claude/P, Claude minus P.
Yeah. Which they get, just so you know, from Unix.
Yep.
How much of Unix do you know, by the way?
Not much.
I do. I took an entire class on Unix from Sun Microsystems.
Okay.
Everybody doesn't know this, but I mention it periodically. I was actually a Unix sysadmin.
That's very funny.
I'm not sure why you find it funny. Anyway, so the whole idea was that they were going to give out credits based on this thing, and that was going to happen on June 15th. But they literally woke up and was like, you know what, we're not going to do this anymore. Yeah. And I think, look, you and I have spent a lot of time, and I think you were the one who were driving this conversation, but there was kind of no way they could do this. Can I say that out loud?
Exactly. I mean, since day one that they announced it, right? Like, I was like, from day one, I was like, it's not going to happen. I'm pretty sure they are going to cancel it. Even yesterday, we talked about that, right? Because yesterday was June 15 and it didn't happen yet, right? Like I received this email at 3 a.m. because we live in Thailand, so it's like 12 hours ahead. 11 hours ahead of New York.
Yep.
So they sent at 4 p.m. as well, New York time, right? So which is like 1 p.m. Pacific time. So it looks like they kind of waited the last minute, right? Like they didn't send it on the
Oh,
14th.
they definitely waited until the last minute
Like
for
they
this.
really waited to the last minute, right? And they were not sure if they do it and if they don't do it, right? And then at the end of the day, at 4 p.m. Eastern time, they basically said, okay, we don't do it, right? And so once again, as a user, we talked so much about it in the last months, and again, yesterday, I really felt it was such a bad idea to do this that I was like, they are going to cancel it. Even this weekend, when I was like, okay, if they don't cancel it, I had to be ready for it, right? So I integrated OpenAI into all the system
But
that we have.
but back up and say why you had
Yeah.
to do this. I mean, if you think
Yes,
about
yes.
the entire AI infrastructure that you've built, maybe you
Yeah.
should talk about that a little bit and say
You're right.
why you
Yeah.
and also the solution that you came up with, because you were pretty sure.
Yeah.
And you've said this over the last month on I wouldn't say every day, but every time the topic kind of came up, you're like, they can't do
Yeah.
this. And we talked about why, so we should discuss that too.
Yeah, so let's remind the audience, you are right. So basically the reason why I really thought they would cancel it was because it was too simple for the users like us to keep the benefit of the subscription by just switching to OpenAI, right? Like we just had to say, okay, bye bye Anthropic, we just go to OpenAI basically, and because OpenAI did not change their subscription, they
Nah.
still subsidize the token heavily. And to be fair, like out of all of my testing that I've done this weekend, I could get everything done with GPT 5.5 as good as what I'm doing with Opus 4.8. So which means that the two models, are able to do pretty much the same thing.
Pretty much the same, right?
And so compared to like thousands of dollars that it would cost me on the API cost on Claude, compared to the $200 plan on OpenAI, and actually I think I could get away with a $100 plan because they are even more generous on
Yeah, because their limits are
OpenAI.
on OpenAI.
Yeah, so they don't change the subscription. They have much higher limits. So I was like, you know what? Maybe we're actually going to save money, which is
Right.
great. And so that's why like it was too simple as a client to actually keep enjoying the benefits. That was the first thing. Then the second thing was, as a user, if you max out your max plan, that's the name of the plan, your $200 plan, right? And you spend two,
Yeah.
three, $4,000 of tokens, it means you use it a lot, right? Like you are one of these power user, right? Like you have tons of workflows, you know really well how it works, like you've been pushing the limits really, really, really far, right? And yeah,
But let's define what a power user is too, because I think it's pretty binary, right? I don't do agentic coding on a day-to-day
yes,
basis.
yes.
Right. So I don't need the power. Like I think I pay $20 a month for my ChatGPT subscription.
Yep.
Because I don't do agentic coding and I don't run agents for anything else either.
Yeah.
So because there's no agentic relationship between me and what I do on OpenAI or on ChatGPT, there's no way I'm going to make enough calls, spend enough tokens to then, if OpenAI was doing this, to get to the level where I'm going to have to start to pay for their API costs.
Yeah.
But what you do is different.
Completely different. I mean,
completely, because you're doing agentic coding, but then that coding, a lot of that coding actually ends up running agents that do a lot of work for us.
Like for me, I have absolutely everything that runs through Claude Pay. Claude
everything.
minus P, for example. Sorry.
Yep.
I don't use the Claude app at all. I don't use the Claude Cowork. I don't use any of the Claude products because I've just rebuilt all of them for us, basically. Right?
Exactly.
Like even the chat, I've just rebuilt our own chat interface that basically replace Claude Code, right? And then all the orchestration layer, all the loops, all the database, everything, I've just rebuilt it. And
but because of that would have meant that our costs would have gone up if they
our cost would
because
have
you would have exceeded the limits for your subscription, and then you would have had to pay for API costs. It would have been way more expensive.
In like 5 hours, I think I would have
exceeded. But I don't think. Can I make this point too, Mark? Because I don't think it's just us, and I think this is one of the things that Anthropic noticed is that there's an entire tier of companies.
Yeah. So maybe I can
Go ahead.
Before we go there, like, let's just like take our example first, right? Because you are right, then it's amplified by the number of people who are in our situation, right?
Yep.
So exactly, like we have nothing that runs in Cloud Code, in Cloud.ai, the website, which means everything uses Cloud P. So for us, we would go from $200 a month to like thousands of dollars, maybe $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 a month.
Depending on, it could be 10 grand.
For maybe 10K, it's really hard to know beforehand. So which means to avoid that, we should just switch to OpenAI and then basically give the exact same thing at $200 per month, right? So it was so simple to achieve the same price. Plus, once again, OpenAI GPT 5.5, I've tested. It looked that it was able to do the same thing, so that's great.
Yep.
And plus, once again, the power users like me who really pushed everything super, super, super far, right? Like I don't think a lot of people have built their own orchestrator as big as what we have done.
No
Like,
no
so
way.
which means like I don't think that's a good idea in any business to cheat out your best clients, right? Like the guys who really push
Because
the
you'll never come
boundaries,
back
because
either. Sorry.
then you absolutely never come back. But also like we are so deep in the weeds, right? Like
Yeah.
we are so deep in the trenches that it's better to actually sit down with me and understand how I've built everything, and I learn so much more, right? And I just use me as a proxy for all the guys who actually build something big on these apps, on these LLMs. There is like so much more to learn from us because of what we've built, rather than say, okay, thank you very much, but now go to OpenAI. Basically, I don't
Exactly.
think that's the right plan,
No.
right?
No.
And so this was like my own unique situation, I would say. But as you said, I don't think it's so unique, right? I think this was actually amplified. This problem was amplified because there's a lot of people who actually did the same thing and who were impacted by this change in pricing. But like not impacted, we're gonna pay twice more. No, we're gonna pay 10 times more, 20 times more, right?
Yeah.
And so it's completely different paradigm. One of them actually was Microsoft. Like 2 weeks ago, they said now it's too expensive. We just go to OpenAI, right? Because you can think about it in a team setting where everybody has a $200 per month plan, and then all of a sudden everybody gonna pay $2, $3, $4,000 of API cost. That's a different story if you have 1,000 employee, right?
Yeah.
So that's what like we saw Microsoft saying, okay, we are switching. We also got ready for it, right? So I was hoping very deep inside of me that would happen. I was like, okay,
Lots of hope. Yeah.
this can't happen. I was like, okay, it's still possible that it happens. So this weekend, what I did was not replace Claude by OpenAI. I just added a multi model capabilities to everything that we have built. So now everything that we have can work both with Anthropic and also with OpenAI, which is good anyway, right? That's something that I should have done a long time ago. And thanks to this, because I thought on, because actually it's not that I thought, it was like there were possibilities that on Monday I would need to switch. I was just getting ready to, in case that still happened, I could just do the switch easily. So that's why like I could, like Sunday night, I had the two options open. I could still use Claude or I could use OpenAI. But then, yeah, yesterday we did the show, and I was like, yeah, they can still cancel it, and they did.
But I wanted to talk about this idea that there's a whole cohort of companies that's like below a certain usage level, but still uses a lot of agentic stuff.
Yeah,
I think we fall into this category. Although to be fair, I think we're in the middle of this category, not at the top of this category.
for sure. Yeah,
But that would be happy to move to OpenAI because we don't feel like we're using. Like I personally, knowing what you do and what it accomplishes, I don't think it would justify them charging us for API costs because they're going to lose. Because here's what's going to happen: everybody that does that, everybody below a certain level, besides the enterprises that have massive IT budgets, right, and massive AI budgets, those companies are going to stay because they don't care.
exactly.
But if we leave, we're never going back unless because the performance, as you said, and I think this is we have to point this out. The performance from a coding perspective and from an agentic AI perspective, the difference between 5.5 and 4.8 on the Opus side is nothing.
Yeah, it just works.
Nothing
Right?
meaningful, right?
Nothing meaningful that justify a 28 increase in price, right? Like
No.
it makes absolutely no sense. But so that's what I think there is so much implication, right, to this
Yeah.
non-change in price, right? Also, what's very interesting, first of all, in the announcement itself, they sent an email, and that never happens with Anthropic. Normally, they never send an email. They just say something on their X, and that's it, basically. Like if you don't follow Anthropic on X, you have no information. Here,
Exactly.
they did.
It's funny. It's funny. Did you look on X today?
Yeah. I mean, I was looking all day yesterday. I was like, when do I need to make the switch? When do I need to make the
But
switch?
it's weird. Can maybe you can tell people how you found out about this? You got an email from Anthropic, yeah?
Yes. So that's
With
what
a
I'm
little
showing
bit of a I don't know
screen
what
right
you'd
now.
call it, like some sort of design feature inside the email,
Yeah.
right?
That's
That's because the thing that you showed me, it looked like it was like some kind of not graphic. Maybe it was like a graphic or You
So
know what I mean?
that's
Like
what
an infographic.
I'm showing right now on screen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
People
see
can
it.
see the email. So yeah, so they just sent this email at 4 p.m. yesterday night
Because I saw
Eastern
tons
time.
of people on X talking about this, and then I saw one guy going, "I didn't see the announcement. Can you send me a link to the original announcement?" And I went searching for an original link. There wasn't one,
No,
not that I could see.
there
All there
wasn't.
was emails to guys like you.
Yeah,
I don't use it, so I don't pay for Anthropic. I pay for OpenAI,
yeah.
so I'm not going to get the mail. But all you did was get a mail. Think about it. There was no even public announcement,
No.
unless you saw one that I didn't see.
No. There was absolutely nothing. There was nothing. I didn't see much people talking about that as well on X or saying, "Hey, that's great." But so I think there's like so much implication here. But I think first of all, we need to think about why they wanted to do it in the first place. I think the reason why is because it's economically it's expensive to subsidize the token at 2,000, 3,000, $4,000 per month, maybe from what I use, and only ask me to pay $200, right? At scale, that gets really, really expensive. So
Mm,
that's reason number one, right? Reason number two was, I think, is that Claude and Anthropic looks like they really want to go to the enterprise markets and they really want to push people to buy the token. Like they really believe strongly into the token billing system, right? They really want
mm,
people to pay for the API. That's where they make the most money. And that was a way to force us actually to upgrade to the API system and hence increasing our bill like way more, right? So it was really
yeah.
like an idea of like, okay, we stop the subscription model because it costs us way too much money, and plus we are going to increase our revenue as well now because you are going to pay for the API. So I think those are the two reasons why they wanted to do this,
Yep.
and it failed, right? It failed. They didn't have the capacity, they didn't have the power. This is why that's really interesting and why it failed, all right? They
Mm,
couldn't force the market in a way to upgrade, to pay for the API, because once again, they were a solution that was way too simple. Just go to OpenAI, right? And that was big enough. Like the group of people like us, I think, that were just like, okay, we're just gonna go to OpenAI. I think that was a big enough group to actually make, and for people like, okay, we are actually going to make a mistake, right? Like we should not do that.
But Martin, one of the other super interesting thing that's happened actually over the past couple of months is that Anthropic has actually passed OpenAI
Yeah,
in the percentage of enterprise accounts that are using AI
yeah,
that pay either Anthropic or OpenAI.
yeah.
It's 41% to 40%, I think. So it's just a small difference.
Yeah.
But to counteract that,
Mm,
OpenAI was actually considering lowering their cost per token
mm.
that they're going to charge people.
Oh wow. Yeah,
And the stuff that I read said significant price reductions.
I mean,
Um,
if clothes change their pricing and it become way more expensive, that's the right move, right? Like just lower your price drastically on OpenAI, it become way less expensive, and you're gonna get tons of market share, right? It's like free
yeah,
marketing for them. Like this type of craziness on Anthropic, it's free marketing for OpenAI. It's free client acquisition, and plus it's client acquisition of the power users, the one who build the big stuff, right? So,
yeah.
so yeah, no, so that's what I think. The group of people who were going to move, actually, I think the bet that Anthropic made, which was they are going to upgrade to the API, did not work, right? Like that just did not work. We did not upgrade to the API, right? So when I
But
say
it's weird.
we,
Like, didn't they
yeah,
ask anybody? Do they have? They don't have a customer service team that went out and said like, "Hey, before we do this, what do you guys think?" And everyone didn't like revolt.
yeah, no, it's true, it's true, it's true. That's a good point. Yeah, no, they
You know what I mean?
didn't. I mean, I mean, like friendly, if you go to anyone and you ask that,
That's my point, though.
yeah, that's why, like, if they did ask, I guess people were saying no and they tried to do it anyway and it did not work, right? But so which means like a lot of things, right? It means like first of all, people were not ready to pay 10 times more for the same thing, which means Claude is not 10 times better than OpenAI, right? In the perception of
No.
people, they were like, I'm not paying 10 times more when I can get the same thing with OpenAI, right? Like it just makes no sense, right? So that's why like they are not that much better to justify such a huge increase of price. And as a user, I tried both and it worked, right? So I can only agree on that, right? So that's a first, I think, serious like thing against the capacity of Anthropic. They believed they were 10 times better, right? And they believed people would increase and pay for the API, but
Mm.
they did not, right?
But
So
does this mean they're living in a little bit of a bubble, right?
maybe, maybe they do, yeah. Maybe
But
because
I think this brings up a larger existential question for both of these companies.
tell me.
Well, do they have pricing power
So yeah, so
over anything?
yeah. So
And if they don't have pricing power, what are the implications? Let's not bring up the open source models yet, because that's, I think, is a different conversation.
but that's part of the question.
It is and it isn't, at least,
Okay.
right? Because what the market is telling them is, we think that the model itself and the companies that build the models, as expensive as it is to train and as intense as it is to build that stuff, that's the thing that's going to become a commodity. Because I think it's I think it's multifaceted here, Martin. One is, we can talk about the open source models and just go, those are free. You can take them and you can adapt them just like you can with any other piece of open source software. But the business model that gets built around them is going to look exactly like Linux. We've been over this before. And for people that don't understand, like, if you have a question about what that means, ask me in the chat and I'd be happy to explain it to you. If you do understand what that means, then don't put anything in the chat and I won't explain it. But the idea that these frontier lab companies can become commodities means they're going to have to build other stuff to make money.
Yeah. No, it's
And
true.
that's going to be highly problematic for them, right? I think.
I think this is
And you and I have been talking about this forever.
yeah, no, this is one of the biggest implication here, right? Like, I think it really hints as the death, the death, yeah, of the token API model, right? Like, people are just not ready for that. It's just way too expensive. It's just not going to work. Right now, it works because it's AI v1. There is no real alternative, right? We have to, or actually, we don't really have to. We can just pay for the subscription. But as soon as you force people, you remove the subscription, then people just go back to the subscription and don't pay for the API. So it
Right.
means like the API business model, I think, will need to change, right? It's not something that's sustainable. And that's a really big hint at that.
Yeah,
On
I think
top
it's,
of,
again,
yeah,
I think it's, you and I have been talking about this for a couple of
yeah,
months now, but I do think it's highly problematic in that sense, right? In
I
the
mean,
sense that
yeah.
if it gets to the point where they cannot continue to charge for access to the model, well, then they're going to have to build these ancillary businesses or supplementary or complementary businesses around them. Again, in the same way that Linux did, where, like, Linux itself as an operating system is free.
Yeah.
But how do I use it? Who's going to support it?
Yeah.
And it's the support stuff that turned, Red Hat into a multi-billion-dollar company.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I think this is like,
But also, Martin, can I just say this too? Because the structure that has been created, okay, at OpenAI and at Anthropic, they're not set up to be the services company.
it's true. Good
They're
point.
set up to be the
Yeah.
model testing company
Good point.
and the model provision company,
Yeah.
which is one of the reasons why they have all this infrastructure and data centers and all this other stuff, which we can talk about as well if you want.
Yeah.
But they're not set up for this.
No. It's weird what's going on right now with Anthropic, right? Like, it's okay, their model are really good, right? It's really amazing. As of today, they are probably the best, not by a wide margin.
No.
Again, OpenAI is really close, if not
Yep.
on par, right? So, but still, like, they are doing really great job on the model side. But what is going to be the future? I think this is a big question, right? And once again, as we said yesterday, I think it's way more likely that Anthropic goes to 0 than they go to 10x. It's way more likely because there's
Yeah.
so much threat right now, way too much threats, right, against this business model that makes them so much money, right? And it's not clear at all of how we are going to use AI v2. The open source model is a really strong alternative, getting stronger every day. AI on, because it allows AI on device, it allows inference for free, right? And as you just said, Anthropic, at least Anthropic, I feel OpenAI is trying to diversify a little bit more their offering, but still they don't have a huge open weight model, sorry, a huge open source model that everybody use. And Anthropic seems like they really tried to go to the API business model. They believe they were 10 times bigger And now they see that it's not, right? And so they may really need to adapt, but adapting for them, for Anthropic and for OpenAI, may mean doing open source, right? And then changing absolutely everything with their business model, right? It means that they will need to become service company. It may be infrastructure provider as well. Maybe they will be able, they will need to like, yeah, become more like Red Hat rather than Apple, right?
So, you also have to think about this: is that ChatGPT 5.5 has somewhere between 2.7 and 9.7 trillion parameters.
Okay, huge.
But AMD, we talked about this yesterday, just came out with a little box that runs a 250 billion parameter model.
Yeah, yeah, no,
That's free once you pay for it.
this is one of the actors, right? This is
128 gigabytes of memory and a machine that's pretty powerful.
this is part of all the money that is currently invested into competing with the API model, right? Like
Right.
that, I see that as really like all the solution to avoid paying for API. As a client, I can either pay for a subscription, I can pay for the API, I can install open source models. That's pretty much the three options that we have as of now. So if anything gets either of them cheaper, easier, better, then that's a direct threat to the API model, which is how Claude is making a ton of money right now, right? So
yeah. So again, I think there's a gigantic. It's we should actually just denote what all these little threats are.
yeah,
So one is open source.
yeah.
The second thing is these boxes like AMD is doing.
Yeah, like
Um,
the AI on device as well.
on device,
Yep.
right? The third thing is that OpenAI itself is not going to this type of subscription, this type of model. So Anthropic is kind of left alone, and it just begs the question as to whether they understand history at all.
It's true.
Do you know what I mean?
Really
Like,
true.
do they know? Like, they must have been looking at this stuff, and somebody inside the company, must be over like 27 years old and must have said to them like, "Hey, how about the Linux model?" And they're like, "No, AI is different," which is probably the way this conversation went.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
and
mean?
you're right. Like when they announced that they wanted to change a month ago, like you're right. Like, do they know any history of business at all, right? Because it was
At
making
all.
absolutely no sense, right? So that's why, like now that they go back on that, right? It shows that they really tried, did not work, and now I think it tells a lot about the future business model of AI. And like yesterday, Michael, we mentioned another possibility as well is that they cancel the price change just to avoid the public backlash to IPO soon, right? Because that's also like something that is to take into consideration. It feels to me that Anthropic has been on an IPO roadshow for months now, right? And so it's not good to leave that to lose hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of users who go to OpenAI just before you IPO. That's not a good look. So it's possible that they were like, you know what, let's just not talk about this thing, and let's just focus on the IPO. That's
Yeah.
also possible.
So interestingly enough, Martin, we talked about this. The SpaceX stock is now trading. Do you remember where it went?
It was plus 10% yesterday.
I just want to get right, but where was the IPO price? Do you remember?
135.
And it's trading right now at $211.
Oh wow.
But again, remember, we talked about this, and I'm not changing the subject. I want to put this in the context of the IPO that you were talking about for OpenAI and for Anthropic. But the point is that retail, remember, only got 20% of their allocation.
Yes. Yeah.
Institutions probably got a little bit more because they're institutions and they have more leverage.
Yeah.
And we know it's going to go into the index 10-day. Well, we know it's going to go into the NASDAQ index. And I think it was the FTSE, I can't remember.
100 maybe?
Sorry, I can look at some of my notes. But it was only going to go into, and it's going to go into one of the MSCI indices as well. But the point is that there's going to be some natural buying over the next month or so, next couple of months.
Mhm.
But more importantly is let's just watch what this stock does over time.
Mhm.
It's up almost 30% today.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's why I think Anthropic seeing all of that. I think they won the IPO yesterday. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
Because again,
yeah.
and again, remember, they did not just keep their subscription pricing the same.
Mm.
They also published 2 articles going, "We're the good guys,
Mm, mm, mm.
and we don't do autonomous drone shit." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, they've been publishing a whole bunch of stuff out there to say, like, essentially reading between the lines is, "Please buy our IPO.
yeah, exactly.
Please, everyone has to cash out," kind of thing, right?
And it's been months that they are doing that, right? Like all of their communication in the last few months
Yeah.
is just like, oh, Anthropic is amazing and how good they are, blah blah blah, right? So, yeah, so maybe the timeline for the IPO accelerated drastically, right? Like a month ago, it was not planned that they would IPO so fast, and so that's why they announced the price
Maybe,
change.
right? Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
maybe they were like, you know what, we can do the price change, we can test this thing, and now like I don't know, for some reason they want to IPO yesterday, so now they just like remove all possible bad publicity to actually do this thing. That's what feels the most likely to me.
So here's the other thing that's actually really interesting, Martin. We have some anecdotal evidence, but quite a bit of it actually
Okay,
from the recordings that we have been doing in Asia over the past, like, I don't know, month and a half.
okay,
And one of the things that CEOs and CTOs have been telling us, and actually even at AI Engineer,
hmm,
some of the guys and gals that came out from the US were telling us as well, is that they're much less likely to switch from one of the large frontier lab models in the US 100% to an open source model,
okay,
but that they'll let the open source model do all of the kind of repetitive, really
mm,
simple, you know what I mean? In some cases, the most agentic tasks, right? The stuff where it's just like, cut this thing from here, put it over here in this box. Just keep doing that little task back and forth. It's really easy. It's not that much token usage and it doesn't require that much prompting. And even if it's getting done 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's not going to use 6 trillion tokens.
so
But for
yeah,
complicated stuff, sorry, just let me finish the thought. But
go
for
ahead.
complicated things, they're going to use the frontier lab models, whether it's Anthropic or OpenAI, because they need the level of complexity that those models provide. Sorry,
As
go
of
ahead.
now, as of now.
As of now, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
like Cursor, for example, I think is the best counter example to this. They launched their model composer, which is fine-tuned version of Kimi, I think. If I'm like, please correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but that's one of the Chinese models, Chinese open source models. And so basically they use that to do agentic coding, and that powers all of Cursor agentic platform, and people love Composer. People were like, this is really, really great. So this is another threat to the API token business model of Anthropic and of OpenAI that is already proven at the scale of Cursor,
Yeah.
right?
So
So
Cursor's built on Kimi 2.5.
Jimmy, perfect. Yes, I was right.
Yeah, well done.
Okay. So and I think we would be really surprised, like at how much startups are actually doing that, right? In the US, it's just cost a lot of money in hardware, but it's not impossible, right? And
No.
once fine tuning is going to be more easily possible as well. That's another thing that is being developed and that is going to help create AI V2. If we can fine tune Kimi in a very, very easy way, or DeepSeek, or any other open source model to our exact use case, this is going to be different. This is going to be completely different. So again, so much money invested into growing against the API token model, like really so much money. So much people believe there is another way to do it.
And let's spend a little bit more time talking about what the business model is going to look like, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Because if the models themselves are going to be commodified,
Mhm.
and I think it's already happening, right? Because again, every Chinese open source model itself is turning it into a commodity. And we know companies like Agnes that are just going, it's all free, right? What are the types of things that are going to get built around it? Like, what happens to a company like Cursor? What happens to a company who says, um, we are going to help you, like Pine.ai? So this is a company in Asia that just raised a bunch of money because they're the ones that are going to help you build, not just build your agents, but make sure your agents don't do any crazy stuff on the sidelines. Yeah.
Yes.
And again, but I think those are first cuts at this, because I think at
Yeah.
some point all that stuff is going to move in house.
Yeah. I think that as of now, once again, there's so much stuff going on, right? Like there's so much investment, so much people who are building the next generation of how we use AI. Um, Frankly, we have no idea what it looks like, right? There's so much uncertainty as of today, and it's true that as of today, you see using either Anthropic or OpenAI, give us access to the best AI out there. They are still the best in terms of capacity, right? Nobody else can match them as of now, right? But Anthropic tried to 10x the price, did not work. So they still need to lose money on each one of their subscription user, right? So
Yeah.
which means they need to raise fund, they need to do all the other stuff, right? Which means also maybe company will go back to a subscription model, right? Because now you can, right? So that needs to stop as well at some point, right? Like companies cannot lose billions of dollars on their clients
So
forever.
that was going to be my next question is
Yeah.
how much money
Mm.
are they going to be allowed to lose?
Actually, Michael, like, think about it. Imagine Anthropic lose $100 million per month on the subscription clients. Okay.
$1 billion a year.
Let's say $1 billion a year. Okay. Just to give a number, then you can adjust. Just for
Yep.
the thought process. It is money that they don't invest into open source model or into a computer or into a satellite or into a data center. When you think about it this way, it's such a bad bet because it's such a short-term bet. If I invest $1 billion a year into my client to use my product, but I see all of this competition that is starting to get organized and funded, and big guys like Apple who say we're going to do AI on device, it's going to be great, and you still invest $1 billion per year into the old model, that sounds really, really bad.
It is
So
because it's a massive opportunity cost, right? It's like,
it's
what else could
huge,
I be
exactly.
spending this money on that's going to that's going to
Huge.
make me more
Yeah.
profitable faster?
So which means like maybe they're like, okay, we just lose that just to have the clients, and we use the other money that we have, because we have a lot of money, to actually build for the future. So maybe this number is not that big for them, right? Even though they tried to date this number to zero, but it didn't work. So they are still going to lose a lot of money. But they could invest this money into something else, into building something different, which they can't do because they need to subsidize the token for all of us.
I'm struggling to try to figure out like what the other business models are that they're going to be able to use.
They need to build infrastructure seems to be the most obvious to me, because, and open source, like they need to open source the
Okay, but
model. Yeah.
let's run through this. Let's say OpenAI,
Mm.
it's got open in its name.
Yeah.
Let's say they just say, never mind, we're going to open source all of our stuff.
Oh wow, imagine. Imagine
Well,
they do
first of all,
that.
what does Anthropic do? Does it die like immediately?
Yeah, imagine they do that the week before the IPO.
The week for Anthropic's IPO. That would be
Yes,
the funniest thing
yes.
ever.
But that would be such a great move. Imagine the number of clients. I mean, today the hardware is not ready. It's going to be super hard for anyone to access an open source GPT 5.5, right? So, but the directionality would show the possibilities, right? Like we would see the possibilities and we'd be like, you're right. Like, why do we pay $1 million a year in token where we just need to make a cheaper GPU, right? So let's just invest more money into NVIDIA, into AMD, into Intel.
But I mean, imagine,
Let's help those
so think
guys.
about this. Let's run through this. Imagine a company like Uber says, who knows what their budget was, but let's say it was
Yeah.
$100 million.
Yeah.
Actually, let's use your number. Let's use $1 billion.
Yeah.
Let's say they allocated $1 billion for the whole year for agentic AI or whatever, for token costs.
Yeah.
And everybody was token maxing or whatever it was. And they spent all that money between January and April.
Yeah.
Or when they're doing their budgeting for the rest of the year, then they say, wait a second, we could just buy like whatever $1 billion buys us for the number of machines we can buy from AMD.
And we just run GPT 5.5 locally.
Locally, pay no token costs.
And forever.
Say again?
And forever. You don't pay
And
any
forever, that's the
token,
point.
just ever.
Because then it's just like a PC upgrade model.
Yeah.
And companies have been doing that for decades.
We know very, very well how to do that, right? And still, if you want to use the cloud option, which is exactly how all the open source offerings are built, right? You can just install it yourself if you want, run it on your own machine, or you can also pay for the cloud option through API. You can use their engineer. You can get some help from their service team, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Anthropic and OpenAI could become. But that's a really different business model, right? Like this is really, really different than what we are doing right now.
Right.
And I hope they get ready for it, because I don't see any other possibility for them. If tomorrow OpenAI open source GPT 5.5, that would be such a crazy move. Such a crazy move.
But again, like even if they do that, you're right.
Yeah.
What does the rest of their business look like?
So OpenAI has been the first mover to launch ChatGPT. So right, so and that saved them. I mean, it's not that saved them. It's like it was their only chance to be able to exist on the markets. Otherwise, Google or Facebook should launch something, and it would have been much harder for them to exist. So that's why like we could do the same thing. Like they are number two in terms of usage. They are number two in terms of public opinion. They are number two in terms of media coverage. I mean, they are in the exact position
Exactly.
to say, let's do something insane. And if they believe that open source is the way to go, it will need to happen anyway. In 3 years, in 2 years, in 6 months, we have no idea, right? But as soon as DeepSeek or Kimi or anyone become as good as GPT 5.4 6 months ago or Opus 5 months ago, it's over basically, right? Like so that's why like it looks like they have to do it at some point. Why not do
So
it right now?
do you think these big companies, these big frontier lab model companies, are making
Yeah.
a geopolitical bet as well?
Tell me more.
Well, China's models are all from China.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at some point, they're all going to run on Chinese infrastructure and Chinese chips.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that Cursor has written their stuff on Kimi.
Yeah.
But what if that gets banned? Or what if none of it gets banned, but then every company in the United States is using because it's so much cheaper and so much more efficient to use, whether it's DeepSeek or whatever, because now they're paying less and they have more control. Like, what is that going to look like? And aren't people going to protest around the fact that, like, oh, now we're just using Chinese models and the US is lost?
So actually, like the question of Else and Joy, Michael, on the chat is pretty much related to that. So we don't want to be like too much politics, right? So we have to be careful. But he asked, do you guys ever wonder how an attack on Taiwan would derail US dominance, especially on the AI space? Maybe let's focus on that. And that's to your point,
it
right?
depends. It depends. The question really is, I mean, do you want to go through this? Because the question really depends. Is it an attack on Taiwan from China? And if it is, what does that attack look like?
Okay.
Because what's happened over the last like 10 years is that the business ties between China and Taiwan have become so intertwined.
It's true. It's true.
It almost may not make a difference. Because while Taiwan does not want to be part of China's political system, there is precedent for this, right? In 1997, Hong Kong went back to Chinese ownership. And things have changed, for sure. You can't say that nothing's changed. Now, Taiwan's economy is in a completely different structure than Hong Kong's economy is, right? Hong Kong has always been, not always, but had recently been in the last 20 to 30 years, has been sort of financial center. And Taiwan has always been sort of a high-tech and manufacturing sector, with a lot of their manufacturing now taking place in China.
True.
So China's going to be very careful about attacking Taiwan because they don't want to destroy anything there. And to be fair, TSMC, like all these companies that are Taiwanese companies, operate in China, built factories in China, employed Chinese workers. China does not want, from a geopolitical standpoint, to have problems with Taiwan. They may figuratively like roll tanks in there. Can't, because obviously it's an island, but you understand the point. But I think that if China wants to do it through military action or through violence, China's going to lose more than Taiwan loses.
And could that derail US dominance? Actually, can we talk about US dominance first of all? Is there like US dominance?
So I don't think I think the US is going to ruin its own US dominance on its own.
No, I agree. It feels like this to me as well. We don't need Taiwan for that.
They don't need Taiwan's help here. Yeah. They don't need China's help. As a matter of fact, China's just sitting on the sidelines going, hey guys, come here. Yeah. Come here. Those guys are lighting their house on fire next door.
Yeah.
Like that's what Chinese are doing. They're like, we don't have to do anything. Just let this crap play out. And again, every Chinese plan is somewhere between 5 and 50 years.
Yeah.
Every United States plan is like, what are we doing next weekend?
Yeah.
And so I don't think that any invasion or overtaking of Taiwan has any impact on U.S. dominance over time, the U.S. is going to do a good enough job, I think, on its own of just like mucking up its stature in the world, which I think over the last year and a half they've done very, very well on their own.
And also, like Michael, like keep in mind that the day Lenovo launch an AI PC, that could reshape the entire market as well. If tomorrow Lenovo comes on the market with a similar value proposition as AMD that we discussed yesterday,
Yeah, yeah.
a small PC, 4,000 USD, like actually they are going to do it at 2.5 because that's the Chinese, right? So
Yep.
they are going to do it super cheap. They are going to subsidize it. It's going to be crazy cheap. It's going to be Lenovo, so they have a good brand. They know very well how to make PCs. They already have crazy distribution. Tomorrow they're gonna launch an AI PC at 2.5 thousand USD, undercutting every US brand, running on Huawei chips. And that is going to be the beginning of the end, I think, Michael. Because if that happens,
So the beginning of the end has already
yeah,
started. Just
yeah,
imagine, Martin.
yeah.
I want to build a contrast here. Imagine the Chinese having a ping pong tournament
Hmm.
inside the Forbidden City.
Okay.
Does it sound familiar?
Hmm. Not a
I
ping
just,
pong, a little bit more violent, but yeah.
but you understand the point, right?
Yes.
Ping pong is uniquely like Chinese dominate this,
Yes.
whatever. But the point is that like once you get to the point where you're having like blood sport on the lawn of the White House,
Hmm.
I don't think it's going to take any action from China or Taiwan to like end U.S. dominance.
Yep.
All
So
irony aside.
yep. So let's not get too political, but
No, I don't want to be too
yeah.
political, but I'm just saying, like, they asked the question, like,
Yeah.
do I worry about it?
Hmm.
It's relevant on the margins for sure,
Yeah.
but I think over time the U.S. is going to be able to ruin itself on its own.
So I think their only chance is if they don't miss the turn to AI V2 too late, right? Like if they, like once again, what we say right now is just I hypothesis, and it's still better to use Claude than DeepSeek as of now. It's still cheaper and still better, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But once again, so much new things are being built against this model, and the Chinese are getting organized as well. Apple is getting organized. Everybody's getting organized to do something else, and it looks like nobody is rebuilding the API token model. Nobody is going into that direction at all, except Anthropic and OpenAI, right?
Mm.
It looks like no
What does
one's
Mistral do?
Mistral, they are open source as well. Open source.
Right. So we can
Yep.
see what's happening in Europe and in France. We see
Yes.
what's happening in Asia. We see it in Singapore. We also see it in China.
Yes.
So the U.S. is the only place in the world that wants to
Only.
charge you on a token by token basis for use of their AI models. It's just
And
not going to work.
I would not say the US, I would say Anthropic and OpenAI. Apple said we're gonna run AI
Fine.
on device, right?
Fine. Yeah, yeah. Fair
Google
enough.
released plenty of open source model, right? So really it's just Anthropic and OpenAI who are like, I mean, we are going to do this thing. Facebook, they released open source model, and then they stopped, and now they switched to a closed source model, but the intent at the beginning was to do open source models, right?
Yeah, and it's not clear that's what Llama was supposed to be, but it's also not clear how Facebook is expecting to make
Yeah.
money off their models, because
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think
not clear.
anyone's going to sign up for their model in the same way that you pay for
No.
Anthropic and I pay for OpenAI.
Yes, it's true. So it's not clear what they are doing right now, but Facebook, they have a huge advantage is to have massive network of data centers. So even if the model fails, it's fine. They can make money renting their data centers to the other guys. So I'm not worried too much about them. I'm much worried about Anthropic and OpenAI because I don't know, as a client, I don't want to pay for the API. I don't think anyone
No,
wants to pay that, right? So right
no.
now, if the only people who pay for the API are for companies like Facebook who don't care about money for now, if that's their client, we have a huge problem, right? Like we have a massive
This is the
problem.
big problem that they've made is that
Yeah.
and Anthropic is the best example of where they're like, okay, we're gonna subsidize the tokenization of all these models.
Mhm.
And then they're like, okay, that's going to be way too expensive. We're going to die if we don't raise more money.
Mhm.
So now we're going to charge people on an API usage basis. And then the market went like, yeah, you're not going to do that to us.
Yep.
Otherwise, we're going to go over and work with the OpenAI guys. And they're like, okay, never mind. We're not going to do that anymore. But we're still going to have to look at it.
Yeah.
But the real question is, what's going to happen?
What's
Right.
happen next? right? And I don't think anyone wants to pay $1 million per year on token cost through the API, right? So
Nah.
especially if you don't buy a subscription, but subscription has a dev date as well, right? Because that needs to be subsidized.
Yep.
So either the cost become so much lower that actually it becomes profitable, right? But that's like a long shot as of now, right? So it's not still possible.
Yeah.
Or we would need to change our usage of AI. But right now, it sustains just because of our capacity to raise money and to subsidize the token. It looks like
Exactly.
it is not a long-term thing, right? So I'm really surprised that they are not going into the other direction. Like they are not announcing, okay, you know what, let's launch an open source model, let's build infrastructure, let's build a PC. Like why they don't participate into all the other stuff that are being built, like both Anthropic and OpenAI. Maybe just because they want to IPO right now, right? And it's not the
Yeah.
time to shine any.
I don't. So I'm going to agree with
Yeah.
you here. I don't think we can
Yeah.
underestimate the importance of the IPO to these
Yeah.
companies
Yeah.
and how they're driving their business forward based on what they want the outcome for that IPO to be.
And that's not the moment to put any doubt into the public
No,
market, right? If
no.
tomorrow Anthropic launch an open source model, then people can be like, oh wait, so which
What does
means
that mean?
like we don't need
Yeah.
to pay for the API in 2 years, but 90% of your income comes from the API. So how does that work, right? Like are we
But
going
also
to
remember as well, Martin, that both of these companies have, whether it's Anthropic or OpenAI, have built or are building this massive army of FDEs, right, to go into
Yeah.
corporates and tell them, and enterprises, and tell them how to use AI.
Yes.
So that alone can be a business model. Like if
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
actually effective,
Yes.
that's the business model, at least at the beginning, is running a consultancy that tells people actually how to
Yep.
do this and how to do it in a way that makes sense.
Yep. So
That's
maybe
just part of it though, yeah?
maybe actually that's the hint, right? Like that's like, yeah, that's the hint that they are already thinking about plan B, right? Like in case they need to switch to like more like a consultancy / infrastructure model, if they can build the FDEs network, the forward deploy engineers fast enough, like use the frenzy right now, but Anthropic to actually deploy them fast, like fast.
Yeah.
At least when they need to switch, they are ready because they already have all of these people who will be able to help their client do the transition, right? And that is a huge advantage. If they can do that, it's huge, right? It's absolutely insane. But that means like you get to build a huge network, huh? And we would need to see what's the share of their income that actually comes from token sales. What happens if that disappear?
Right, exactly.
And it's gonna be replaced by what, right? Like this is the big question. And the FDs, okay, they are going to help you transition, but transition to what? If
what?
everybody wants to pay less and you have more options on the market, I don't know. It looks like a weird situation to be in if you're Anthropic, except if you're on an IPO tomorrow and you want to cash out before it gets really ugly, basically.
Yeah. So there is one company out there that does not have to cash out and that already has billions of dollars of revenue, and that's Microsoft.
Yeah. Yes.
We should talk about Microsoft a little bit.
Let's talk about that.
Because I do think this is indicative of something you were mentioning earlier, and it's a good substitute as well.
Yeah.
Microsoft has said that now they're going to ask AWS for AI capacity.
That's interesting.
And part of the reason why is because activity on GitHub is surging.
Okay.
Now, I've often wondered like what GitHub means.
Okay.
Like I know what hub is.
What does it mean?
What's the Git mean?
I don't know. Tell me.
So Linus Torvald, who invented this thing, right, said that it could stand for like Global Information Tracker.
Okay.
So he built this as well because I think there was something called Bit Tracker, and people were using this to understand like what the Linux releases were going to be.
Okay.
And he was like, yeah, I don't like this idea of Bit Tracker. So he called it Git. Now, the thing that I didn't remember, although I know this word, that Git is also a British slang for jerk.
Okay.
That guy's a Git.
Okay.
You can say that.
Okay.
It means like an idiot or like an unpleasant or a foolish person.
Okay.
But it's not, it's derogatory. It's not like that guy's a Git. It's not like that. Okay. But the usage on GitHub has surged.
Okay.
What does that mean, Martin? It means that a lot of the coding that's taking place, whether it's vibe coding or agentic AI supported coding, is just creating a lot more code.
Yep.
So a lot more stuff is getting dumped into GitHub.
Yeah.
That's the real tell here.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's actually super important, right? The importance here to me is that Microsoft, which does run their own data centers and has for years, doesn't have enough capacity or is afraid they're not going to have enough capacity to handle all the workflows and workflow changes that AI is going to bring about, not just for them, but for their customers as well.
Mm,
And that I think is super important.
yes. So I think Azure is the smallest of the three cloud provider. Am I
It is, but
right
if
into
you remember,
that?
it's growing really quickly. Yeah.
Yes, it's growing really quickly for sure, but I think AWS is the first by far. I think that we are the largest. And then I think the number two is Google Cloud. I think it's not Microsoft Azure.
Mhm.
But they are each like pretty close to each other, right? It's not like one is twice the size of the other, right? So so yeah, no, I think it's really, really. I mean, it's another example of like all of these large US companies are all starting to work together at like such a deep level, right? Like,
Yeah.
like right now they are clients of each other. They invest into the same companies. Like, they are so hinted twins, right? So it's pretty insane actually.
It
It's
is.
pretty insane.
But I think the key thing to understand here is this idea that agentic coding is creating way more
Yeah.
software and way more code.
Hmm.
And that if you want to share that code, which
Hmm.
is what GitHub is all about, right, that there's going to be a lot more stuff shared as well.
And they
So
believe into
it's a
that
real
as well.
signal. And I want to make this
Yeah.
point again anytime that it's possible. This argues against the fact that there's a bubble for AI.
Maybe some companies are overpriced.
Yeah,
Maybe.
maybe
Yeah.
some companies are overpriced, but the idea that like we're waiting for demand to show up is something that
No.
I don't think you can say.
No. As of now, I think there's way too much demand. We can't serve the demand. And that's why that justifies the API token sell on Anthropic, because right now people have to do it, right? Like if you are Facebook, you that's the only way that you can actually access frontier AI, right? And so if you want to build fast, if you want to use all the advantages of AI, you have to pay for the APIs. And so that's why a ton of companies use that and they are very happy with it because they have unlimited budgets for now, right?
Right.
So no, there is real use case for AI. There's a lot of people who use it. There's a lot of demand, and I don't think we can give AI to everyone as much as we would like to. But all of that, once again, API model only exists because for some companies they have unlimited budgets, but it's not the case of everybody, and
Right.
it's not gonna last forever.
Yeah, and look, the other question from a capacity and from an infrastructure standpoint, again, which is something we've been talking about for a while, right? Like the
Yeah,
winners are going to be, and you had just said this earlier, the winners are going to be the people that actually build and own and maintain the
yeah,
infrastructure.
yeah. For sure,
Um,
that.
yeah, and look, we saw who was it that bought some space on? So it was Anthropic, yeah, that was
Buying Colossus.
commissioning with Colossus.
Hmm.
So this is going to be key as well, right? That this infrastructure is going to matter even more as we've been talking about for months now. Yeah.
For sure. For sure. At least
Yeah.
that's the safest bet, right? Like if you want to say, like, yes, who is going to be the winner in AI in 10 years, the safest bets are the infrastructure guy, the guy who sell data centers, right? I think it's like pretty obvious that we don't need more of them. They are going to be more busy, and it's so hard to build a data center and to operate it that the few companies that already know how to do that at scale, like AWS, like Azure, like Google and Facebook, clear winner, right? Then they are going to be over winner for sure. It looked like in the last 2 years that OpenAI and Anthropic would be the big winner. But I think now we are at an inflection point. I think now this year in 2026, we start to understand that actually maybe not. Maybe the business model of
Yeah.
AI is going to change, right? And maybe we are not going to pay for token anymore. And now we see all of this new solution being built and it may change, but the one thing that we are always going to need tomorrow is to host our apps, is to host
Yeah,
GitHub,
that's
is to
never
host
going to go
tools.
away, and
This
that's
is
just going
never
to get
going to.
bigger. That's just
Eh,
going to get bigger. And the more
exactly.
Cursor and
Yeah.
Codex and Claude Opus,
Yeah.
these coding tools are going to be used to create more code.
Yeah.
The more the load on a place like GitHub is just going to keep increasing,
Yeah. And
and it's
plus,
going to
like,
then push for more data center necessity. Sorry, go ahead.
you to write. You don't write code to write for the beauty of writing code. You build a
No.
software, you build an app, you build a website, right? So which means all of this needs to be accessible by your team. It needs to be
Right.
accessible by your client. So it needs to run on the cloud, right? So actually, that would be so funny that actually AI is helping to sell website in 5 years. That's it, right? Like actually, like maybe like the biggest money making is just going to be cloud hosting. That's it, right? Because we need to
That would
we
be terrible.
but that would be so funny. I mean, there is a possibility for it. Like if tomorrow, once again, Michael, if we pay $4,000 in 2 years and we have a machine that can run Opus 4.6
Yeah.
locally for free,
Mm.
and then the model becomes free basically, right? And I don't need to pay for Anthropic or OpenAI anything,
Nope.
then nothing happens basically, right? Like the AI is just a tool that we use every day to build stuff for us, right? And I think there is a possibility that we get there. I think once again, there's a lot of people who are building towards that, a lot of companies who are building towards that, and maybe today it's not possible, but in 2 years or in 5 years, it's highly possible that it actually works. And so then we write codes, but we need to host our websites somewhere. That's it. We're just gonna build more website in 2 years. You know,
Yeah.
like I see a world where, I mean, if we just limit to coding itself, right? Are just going to need a place to just host our stuff. That's it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we're gonna buy some services to maybe help us implement AI, to maybe help us create a workflow and things like this. But if the model become commodity, we are going to go back in 2017 basically. Like it's going to be the same web. Nothing would have changed.
Yeah. Do you want to hear some statistics? I
Tell
think
me,
just to prove this point
tell
about
me.
GitHub as a
Yeah,
proxy, right? As
yeah.
a metaphor for everything else that's going on.
Actually, maybe before you do that, maybe GitHub is actually a really good example itself because they have code completion, they help you coding, but besides that, they don't do anything crazy.
No.
They don't have
No.
like they are still pretty much the same services as 10 years ago, right? Like the
Yeah,
core.
because it wasn't meant to be anything except
No.
a repository or
Yep.
depository for
Yep.
code.
And so that's the increase in GitHub usage, right? It's not a replacement to GitHub. We are not changing the behavior here. We are not changing anything new. We are just using the old thing more, right? Thanks
Right.
to AI.
So GitHub's commit volume
Yeah. Oh wow. That's gonna be huge.
has been described as moving from roughly 1 billion commits in all of 2025
Okay.
to a pace that could reach what in 2026?
Tell me.
14 billion commits.
Oh wow.
But just think, it's 14 times higher.
Yeah, 14 times higher. 14 times more usage of once again, the same thing, right? Like the same platform. Didn't change much, just in more hosting.
Yeah. So again, this is what we were talking about before, and you and I always talk about this, but it's like it's making this idea of AI software development into like almost like a load balancing problem.
Hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. Like the infrastructure is
You know
gonna
what
be
I mean?
insane. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not only about product. Like the productivity is great,
Hmm.
but Martin, what was that phrase that somebody used? I've never heard someone say. Remember what was that phrase where they were just like
Oh, I never said yeah, yeah. I
the
never
backlog.
said the backlog going to zero.
I've never seen a backlog go to zero.
Yeah.
Well, with agentic programming, I think you're never going to see a backlog. You won't be able to see zero from where you're sitting. Do you know what I mean? It's just going to be the number
Yeah.
of backlog stuff is just going to grow exponentially,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's going to be problematic, I think.
It's just going to become insane. Yep. It's absolutely possible. Because today it's still like the usage of AI is still only done by people in the bubble, right? People in the tech bubble. And you
Exactly.
still need a lot of tech knowledge, right, to be able to build all of these agentic tools. But yeah, tomorrow, I mean, one of the largest threat as well is just the OS themselves, like building the orchestration layer. I mean, that makes ton of
Yeah.
sense. And Apple said they will do that. Microsoft as well. I mean, they are the guys who should build the orchestrator, right? Like we don't need anything else, right? So if tomorrow that happens as well, like it's just going to once again like make code or codecs irrelevant, right? And it's going to be accessible by the masses, right? So
And I like to give statistics, so not statistics, but I like to give data so that people can understand this.
tell me.
I don't want to ask the rhetorical question, but I'll just say it right out. Microsoft has 400 data centers already
Oh wow, okay.
across 70 different places and added over 2 gigawatts of capacity in fiscal 2025.
Okay.
But they're probably going to invest more in 2026 and 2027.
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Because the world needs more data centers.
But also like they know how to do that globally. I think this is one of the biggest hedge here
Yeah.
because as we saw in the US, it's really hard to build data centers. There's tons of problems, but maybe in Dubai it's much easier, right? Or maybe in Thailand it's much easier. In India it's much easier. We have
Mm.
no idea, right? And so those guys they know, right? So they can say, okay, in the US it's hard. Fine, I'm just going to build it in India, right? And it's okay. It's a bit far, but today the latency is okay. If you go on a website that's hosted in the US, it's fast enough. It works, at least temporarily,
Most
right?
of the time. I
Most of the
wouldn't say
time.
all the time, but most of the time you're right.
It works good enough, right? Like the CDN also do part of the job here to actually help you host something somewhere and then make it available to the entire world. Like this infrastructure is really well known. It's not easy, but it's really well known. We know as human beings really well
Mm.
how to do that. So they have, again, huge advantage. If in the US it becomes hard, fine, let's just do it in a country where they are more welcoming to us, right? We're gonna invest a lot of money, create a lot
Makes
of
sense.
jobs, and they already know. They already have all the relationship. They already know who to talk to at the government. Just going to be so much faster for Microsoft to build 20, 50 more data centers or AWS than
Could
it
you
is for
imagine?
OpenAI or for Anthropic, right? It's crazy that SpaceX has been able to create something different and be able to compete with them, right? Like it's really good for them and must have been really hard to do as well. But like for OpenAI and Anthropic to compete on the capacity side, it's not gonna be easier. Like we will
No,
need to rethink everything, right? So
no. And I think a lot of these companies have become quite incestuous as well. We
yeah,
talked about this from an investment
yeah,
standpoint, right? If this company invests in that company and then pays that company with the money
yeah.
that they just invested to buy some of their, like, this just goes on all the time in the AI space at scale.
Yes, that's scale. That's
Anyway,
massive scale.
yeah,
I wonder what share of OpenAI and Anthropic business is done outside the US.
I would guess very little right now.
If
What do you
it's,
think?
I don't know, because
Like, we use it. We're not in the United States,
yeah,
but we're not normal either.
no, but to use the
And
frontier,
can I make
yeah,
a point?
yeah,
Yesterday, we did a whole series of recordings with people in Southeast Asia for ATP Insights. A little bit of a plug for that show, which, by the way, is on fire.
on fire.
It's just on, but it is on fire.
Yeah,
I hate to say it. Um, we talked to the guy, the CTO at Amity, right?
yeah,
They're a
yeah,
company that both acquires companies and then applies AI to them to make more money or to make the business better.
yes.
Or a company that just gives AI services to big corporations. You know, one of the things they said about this region that I thought was really interesting is that it's not going to, the uptake here is not, because you asked, is it mostly in the United States?
Yeah.
He actually said this. I had to put a few words in his mouth because I've been thinking about this probably for longer than he has, but like human capital here is cheap.
This is a good point. Yep. Yeah.
So if you could hire 10 people to do something that's not that sophisticated, why would you do that, which is very deterministic, rather than hiring ChatGPT to do that for you, particularly if it's generative AI, where it's probabilistic.
Yeah.
And you have less control over it unless you're a prompt master kind of thing.
I think, imagine if you remember correctly, that was the exact same thing I told you day one when I started my AI agent journey. When I installed OpenClaw for the first time and I burned like $50 of token in like 10 minutes, I told
Yeah.
you, I don't
Yeah,
know
you
if
did.
that's a good idea. This actually costs more than hiring people.
Exactly.
And that was like my first hour of experience with agentic AI, right? And of course, I didn't know anything and then didn't know as much as I know now. So now I've like, you figure stuff out on the way. But yeah, for a lot of people who don't figure things out on the way, who don't have the time to invest, into learning and into building all of this agentic system. And also, I mean, it's much more culturally, right? Outside of the US, outside of the Western world, it's better to hire three people rather than, doing another way. So if it's more expensive than hiring people, it's never going to work. So,
Yeah, it's not.
and hiring people in Southeast Asia, for example, it's really cheap, right? Like we are really talking about a couple of $100 a month, right? So,
Right. So here's the thing. So OpenAI announced a center of excellence in Singapore,
yeah.
which is great. Singapore's a high wage country. It's a high value country.
Mhm.
It's not like the rest of Southeast Asia.
Yes.
But in the rest of the region, like, and one of the reasons why they did it in Singapore is, because there's money there, there are MNCs there, like there's a reason why they're in Singapore.
Yes.
But how does it fan out to the rest of the region if just, again, human capital is so cheap that they can pretty much catch up
No, it's true.
in a way that's elegant, actually, without using artificial intelligence?
That's all the threat against the $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 a month bill on the API token cost, right? Because
Exactly.
if you can replace your $5,000 like bill with 3 people that you hire from Southeast Asia and cut the cost by 4, you are going to do it, right? So,
But also imagine a scenario where like a global company employs this idea or deploys this idea of running some AMD machines for people. And then they start rolling it out in Asia and Southeast Asia. So it's like doubly cheap now because now you've got very low cost human capital working on a very powerful machine where there's no necessity to pay for the tokens.
Exactly.
This is going to be a big problem.
This is going to be a huge problem.
It's just going to be a really big problem, I think. No,
this is going to be a big problem. So, and that's why, like, all of the things that we see are people building things against the API token model.
Exactly.
Right? Like, it looks like there is so much alternative as of today, right? And so that's why I'm really, really curious to see, first of all, like, how much money comes from Anthropic, comes from the like API token model. That's the first thing. Then how much of that comes from outside the US, because they may be the first to actually adopt Chinese state. It's going to be easier for people in Singapore and for people in Thailand to buy a Lenovo computer and install Opus. Like really imagine tomorrow if Lenovo launched a $2,500 computer, we can install Opus 4.6 for free. I mean, we buy it tomorrow, like right now, right? Like
why not?
Like there would be really zero reason not to buy it. And so because we are spending $200 per month, so which means we spend $2,500 a year anyway. Right?
Anyway, I know that's the point, right? Is that if you're just depreciating it, it's not even depreciation, but if you're amortizing it or depreciating it over a year or so,
it's free.
That machine ends up being free.
It's free, and it can run, and then we can buy another one next year, and we can put a bigger model and blah blah blah, right? So and maybe we're gonna ban it in the US because they don't like when Chinese do stuff too good.
But people can still walk over the border in Texas, put it into the back of their BYD, which they bought in Mexico.
They're going to bundle
take like 1,000 of these machines back into the United States, and the immigration guards or the ICE guards would just be like, "What's in the back? Nothing."
They are going to bundle BYD plus Lenovo computer in just one trip,
Exactly.
But I mean, I think it's possible, Michael, like we are making a lot of hypotheses here, like how it could evolve.
I think it's all possible.
But it's all possible, and maybe much more possible than people think right now, right?
I agree.
Not tomorrow, but like in 6 months, in 2 years, if we can get down the cost of the personal computer to the $3,000-$4,000 range, up to $5,000, I think it's okay for the mass market. And they make the model work on that, right? Like that's the big question mark as of now. It needs to work on a $5,000 machine. If this happened, it's really completely different.
What I really want to see is the combination of this mixture of experts thing.
So
let's see how that works.
So Cerebras was telling us about that in the context of OpenAI, right? On the context of other models.
Yeah, because I brought up something with him and he was like, yeah. Anyway.
So also that, I'm really curious to see how this is going to evolve. But I think the good news at the end of the day is that I think AI is going to become like cheaper to use, but we may use more. So like I don't remember what's the name of the paradox.
Jevons paradox. But I do think the two things that we've talked about today, right? This idea that the OpenAI and Anthropic are going to, and the frontier lab models are going to lose their pricing power.
I think they lost already. Yeah.
And the flips, I think they've lost already. But the flip side of it is that the infrastructure stuff and Microsoft using AWS is the tell. It's just the canary in the coal mine. That's why I want to do these two things together, because I think those two things are related. And that is that this is the perfect example of why infrastructure matters. And that's where all the money's it's not the only place where money's going to get made, but that's going to be the first level where money gets made. The second level is going to be disintermediating what the services around the AI provision, AI services provision. And that's where companies going to make money too. And to be fair, I don't think they're going to be a ton of them because we don't need 15 companies that do automated programming. We don't need 15 companies because one of the things, like, I think one of the things that Pints.ai, and we've asked them to come on our other show, but I think one of the things that they're doing is saying, as an enterprise, you don't know how to run agentic AI and have it be safe. But we've built something to do that. And again, shocking to me because agentic AI is so new, but they raised a decent amount of money. But we're not going to need those companies in a few years. So we have to find out a better way to understand like how money is going to get made here. And the first thing is going to be the infra.
Computers, cheap, cloud. That really,
Yeah.
this is so. I mean, to me, that's the safest bet, right? Then I think Elsenjoy. By the way, Elsenjoy, I think we should ask you for your first name because we tell you pseudo all the time. But
The first name of who?
Elsenjoy on
Yeah,
the chat.
exactly.
We need to ask you what's your first name because it's gonna be yeah. At this point, you are every day with us, so we should call you for your first name. It will be nicer. You asked what about network effects?
Max. I love it. Okay, Max. Nice to
Great.
meet you. My name is Michael.
Yes, very nice to
But
meet
you
you.
knew that already.
What about network effects, cloud connector integration being annoying to switch away from? So I think this is a great question. I think this is actually a really great question. And maybe Michael, if you're okay, I will answer that.
Go ahead.
I think it's not a problem at all. First of all, because two things. These connectors are actually really easy to build, and you use them only because you use Cloud Code. I don't use any of them because I've built my own Cloud Code basically, right? And so every
Right.
time I want to connect my orchestrator or my chat to something, I just build them. And I don't build them, Claude build them for me. So it's really, really simple to build them and then to not be dependent on that. Like Max, if this we can just make an inventory of all the integration that you use, and then you just add Claude to just rebuild them for you, it's done in like one day, and then you are not dependent on them at all. So I think that's the first thing. But that's the short-term way to not be dependent on anyone. Then the second thing, I really believe that Microsoft and Apple have a shot to actually build all of these connectors for us, embed them into the OS itself, and then there is no more problem at all. Like I don't know if you use Apple or Microsoft, but either of them, they can just integrate that into an AI that they just ship with the machine tomorrow. And this is their massive advantage, right? Because they already have all the app on their system, especially Apple. They could force everybody to do an update and to include this for connection, right, that their AI needs to be able to talk to their app. And they could force everybody to just include them. So basically they would ask the app developer to build the connection for you. And then every app that run on macOS would be connected through AI, through Apple AI.
Yeah.
Basically. And I think this is the smart usage here. We don't need to rebuild everything ourselves. I think that's what Apple said, that they want to do AI on device. I
On
think
device,
this is the first step towards building that. Microsoft also announced that they were building their own orchestrator. To me, it makes so much sense that it just get built inside the operating system itself.
I agree.
And so then there is no more problem. There is no more problem. But then I think that here the bigger question, because you mentioned network effects, I think maybe we can just go one step above that and talk about ecosystem instead of network effects. And here it's true that Microsoft or Google ecosystem or Facebook ecosystem are really strong, right? Really, really strong. And when they deploy AI, it gives them a huge advantage. Salesforce as well, right? Like companies like this, they can, or Apple as well, right? We talked about Apple and Microsoft, because they have the hardware, because they have the OS, because they connect to your iPhone and to your Apple Watch and to all of these things. This is the network effect that is going to be super powerful. Like imagine if Apple AI is that you can access it from your watch, okay? That you can just say, okay, Apple, like do something for me, and that actually do something on your MacBook Pro at home, right? And that something is actually as good as Claude Opus 4.6. So you can code, you can fix something, and you can do that from the gym, from your watch. right?
Right, because you're already doing it from your phone anyway.
And you're already typing in, like, that's what we do right now, right? We use Cloud Code on mobile to actually run on the laptop at home and
Yeah,
return code. But tomorrow, that experience to disappear, integrated directly into the OS itself, and the network effect of this very large company is going to become even stronger, right? So, like we see when Google deployed Gemini in Google search, it's such a cool thing, right? Like it's such a cool use case. And I don't know if you saw that, by the way, Michael.
which one?
Now, when you ask a question on the Google search bar, I think it's only available on Chrome, but now you can actually chat with Gemini directly in
Yeah, yeah,
Google,
yeah.
and that's
I
new.
saw
That's
it.
just like a couple of days old, and so now you can actually access Gemini to ask him follow-up questions and things like this
Directly
directly
from the search bar URL.
from Google search, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so this
yeah,
is the
yeah.
type of network effect to me that is so strong. We don't even need to go to Gemini, which I think, frankly, nobody does. Like actually,
No,
it,
I've done it. I
yeah,
did it yesterday or 2 days ago when we were recording, and nobody really has to do it. But the other interesting thing about Google is, and Facebook and Microsoft the same way, is they don't need to make any money from their AI stuff,
this is so true. Like the
right?
same way Google lost money for, I mean, is losing money on Gmail, on Maps, on all these services, right? Maybe they make a little bit of money through ads. Like I don't know if they really lose money, but they lost money for a long time, right? Like Google Drive, like all of these things, because the ecosystem is so strong, right? And once they plug AI into that, I don't think Google nailed it yet, right? Like they are trying stuff here and there, right? Like on the Google search, it looks like they are making progress, getting better and better.
Yeah,
But I love, once again, I will not talk about that again, but I love the Slack bot use case, and I see
yeah.
Gmail becoming that, right?
Yeah. I mean, they could do the same thing to Gmail that Salesforce did
Exactly.
to Slack.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Can
Max,
do.
Max, in case you don't know what Salesforce did in Slack, it's basically what they do is that they use all the Slack conversation that happens into your company as the context for the AI itself. So which means you can ask the AI a question about anything that's going on into your company, even all the conversation that are going through your colleagues. Okay. So for example, you can ask him like, okay, did Zoe did this thing, right? Or did Zoe did this document with Bob? Or
Zoe.
who is in charge of this thing to the company? And because the
Yeah,
AI
yeah.
has access to all the data that's going on Slack, it knows everything basically. And you don't need to go to Zoe and say, hey, did you actually do that?
Mm.
Or who is in charge of this in Singapore, blah blah blah, which is a nightmare, takes forever. Here, just directly as the AI knows absolutely everything thanks to the conversation that already happened. So you don't need to build anything else. And I think Gmail is also the source of truth and the source of data
For a lot of, yeah.
for a lot of people. So we could have Gemini just absorb all of this thing and then know everything about what's going on into our life. That's scary, Michael, right?
You saw me shake my head. Yeah, it does feel very scary. But the use case that they use at Salesforce
Mhm.
was impressive.
Very impressive. And
And
then
there wasn't a person actually who came over to talk to us that day that didn't like the way that thing had been systemized, right?
they say to us like
So
just a 97 like
percent approval rate or
approval
net,
rate.
what is it? Net
Like
performance score or
people were like 97% were happy and were using Slidebot. And they were like, it's just changed our life, right? And it's crazy, right? That inside such a huge company, people are so happy. And that's why like this type of use cases makes so much sense. Like I don't know, Max, if you have integrated your Cloud Code with your Gmail or with your database. I don't know like how far down the rabbit hole you went. But when your AI has access to all of this, it becomes so powerful. Like really, when it starts to connect different data layer and different things together, Michael, like I showed you through the dashboard, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It really starts to feel like magic, right?
No, it
And
is.
so
But even the stuff that I do that's been developed by our crack CTO um,
yeah,
does feel like magic.
like there's a lot of things that feel like magic just because of the data layer. That's really what's
Yeah,
this thing, right?
yeah.
And so that's why this data layer is super important, really, really, really important in large corporation like on the Driver Media, or if you run an e-commerce website on Shopify, for example, it's hard enough, I would say. It's okay, it's
Mm-mm.
doable to get the data right, but in really, really large companies, it's much harder. So that's why there's companies like Pumi, for example, that sponsors the AGTP podcast, that's actually help you do this type of thing. And that can be actually one of the services that the FDE can sell tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Like this
Right.
is one of the things that Anthropic could say, actually now we are a data company, because this is the hard thing, right? Or we are a governance company, or we are a cybersecurity company, right? Like they could turn into something different
Yeah.
to enable the deployment of AI. And this is really hard. This is a real pain point that people have as of now.
Right. But again, this gets back to the thing that I was talking about with Pints.ai. Is how long are people going to need those services?
Yeah.
And how many companies out there are going to be able to provide them? Like, I don't want to get back to this idea of a duopoly, but how many people do what Red Hat do or Red Hat did with Linux? So even if there is a pathway for some of these big companies to offer those services, as you were suggesting, it's like, how many of them are actually going to be able to do it? How many do we need?
So I think this is once again related to the question of Max. I think you and Max have been the exact same way. You asked the same question at the same time. He asked, long term, are all pure software companies cooked? We will be able to prompt our own local sales force eventually. Only legal modes will remain.
So the answer to this is the IP answer that we had before, right? In the sense that a big company like Salesforce is not like every other company, right? And rewriting what they've done is not going to be easy in the same way that like rewriting a mail server is going to be. You know, like rewriting Mailchimp is pretty simple. Rewriting Salesforce 360, it's going to be a lot harder because remember, Mailchimp or something like that. This is the question he's asking. Yeah, is that are all pure software companies cooked? No, but a good percentage of them are.
So I think this is actually a really interesting question. Then first of all, Salesforce is not a pure sales software
No,
company.
it's an IP company as well at some level. Yeah,
And it's they also have like a big team who can help you implement the software. They have salespeople. They have like a huge system that can actually help you deploy
they are.
Salesforce into your company, train your employee to use the system, and all of these things. And this is really, really, really hard, right? Like if you have 10 colleagues and none of them are technical, just try to give them access to Salesforce or to HubSpot or to like whatever, and look
Yeah,
how
yeah.
hard it is for normal people to use them, right? So you need somebody at Salesforce to train them and to help you deploy and all of these things, right? So that's the first thing. Then second, every software company that either have proprietary data that is hard to get. For example, Apollo would get us email address of like everybody
Right.
on the planet. That's hard to get. It's not impossible. It's just hard. It'll take a lot of time to get there.
Yeah.
That makes no sense to just get all the data by ourselves. So that's another mode. Another one would be infrastructure itself. Even though it's easy to rebuild MailChimp as the software side, it's super simple. Like really, you can build that in like an hour with Cloud Code. So that works very easily. But the infrastructure to actually send emails that get delivered at scale is a nightmare. It's maybe like the hardest thing in tech in the
Yeah,
world.
sorry. I mean, I just use Mailchimp because you're right. Writing the
Yes,
server stuff is easy, but actually having the services around it that
it's
actually get your mail read is hard.
and delivered. Like the mailing infrastructure is just
Yeah,
an
it's hard.
absolute nightmare. Like the delivery, the spam, the IP
So
reputation, it's just hard.
how do you want to respond to Max's last question?
Would be short. So yeah, so that's what like, I think like the infrastructure mode is a big one. Then the data mode is one, legal maybe as well, IP, but then also like all the companies who are doing who are doing services, all the software like Salesforce who are not that simple to use, or the ecosystem players also that we have talked about, like Google,
Yeah,
for example, right? It's yeah, okay, maybe you can like again, Google Drive, there's infrastructure built in. It's in the cloud, so that's gonna be very hard to maintain. So maybe it's not worth it to just rebuild your own Google Drive.
yeah.
So who do we short then? With all of that being said, I have one. Michael, do you have one?
Yeah, my answer is I don't give investment advice. I just don't.
So let
Not
me
without a licensed Series 7. I'm
yeah.
just not going to give investment advice. But I mean, I think that the characteristics out there are people that don't have a moat around their business and where you feel like you
Yeah.
could rewrite this thing at any moment.
Yep, exactly. So, for example, we were talking about MailChimp. MailChimp do send email, so that's hard. But all the other software companies that are just just a a scheduler, right?
Yeah.
The one that just schedule emails and then connect to your email bots by SMTP, but they don't handle the email sending itself.
Mm,
So easy to rebuild. All the very simple CRM who do nothing else. You just pay for $100 per month just to access a CRM.
yeah.
That's not worth it at all. You can just
But
build
even
that
also like
yourself.
Miro board and all these other, you know what I mean? Like just stuff, people that are just displaying things. I don't
Yeah.
think there's any defensible IP there. But
Yeah,
again, I'm not going to give investment advice on who to short, but I will say the way to think about it is
exactly.
think about how hard it would be for you to rebuild that software. Think about how bloated some of the big softwares that you use, but you don't need all of it.
Mm. Then I think we need to keep in mind as well that I'm not sure that a lot of people are going to rebuild everything themselves. There's a big
No.
part of the population that is unable to install Cloud Code and start coding and do these things, right? So
Yeah.
they still need people to do it for them. So they will still
Right.
pay $20 per month. I think at the end of the day, maybe nobody's gonna die, but their pricing is going to drastically drop. Like because now if you spend $100 per month to pay for a CRM, maybe you can pay $100 for a guy to actually build a CRM for you, and then it's free. So the only reason to pay the CRM online is if the CRM is like $2 a month. Really, if it's $2 a month, maybe it's not worth the pain to just do it yourself. So I think this is one thing. Like there is a possibility that just the price of software goes down drastically. And then you mentioned Shopify, one of my favorite topics. I love Shopify because I completely agree. I think Shopify is in massive trouble, like massive, massive, massive trouble. Their stock price bears it, right? Like I mean, my channel you can check what I speed, but last time we checked it was down 40% this year. I think it's insane. Shopify, but I think Shopify is going down not because it's easy to build, because their infrastructure layer is really hard. Like to host e-commerce website at the scale of Shopify globally is really, really hard. The software is simple, but the hardware really, really hard. The infrastructure layer.
Yeah.
So, but the reason
It's down a lot.
it's not a lot.
Yes,
So
it's down a lot. So if you look at, I'm just looking at, sorry,
yeah.
in December 2025, it was $161. It's now
Okay.
103
Oh wow, it's crazy.
or
It's really crazy.
112 actually, but still it's down a lot.
It's done crazy, but I think the reason why Shopify goes down is not because the software is easy to build, because once again, the infrastructure is hard, like really, really
Yeah, yeah.
hard.
But
But
what is the defining factor, Martin, for them?
it's
What do
because
they not have?
the data centers themselves,
They don't have them because they're too small. They were
because they are
never
too
big enough
small.
to need their own data centers.
Exactly.
And now that data centers are a key thing, what are they going to do? Like, because
Exactly.
that has to be the engine of their growth, right?
Exactly.
So,
Shopify in 5 years future is out of the AI race. And as crazy as it sounds, Shopify has never built their own data centers because probably they never got big enough to be able to do it. And so, which means they can't sell infrastructure tomorrow. They can't build their own AI model. So they are not included at all into the
yeah,
AI race. And so, as an investor, do I believe my money is going to grow faster in SpaceX, in Anthropic, in Salesforce, in AWS, in Microsoft, way more than Shopify? Because Shopify is doing nothing in the AI race. They can't participate. I think that's why the value goes down so much, because I don't believe in 5 years I'm gonna make money with Shopify, as
yeah.
and definitely has not as much money than Microsoft or Facebook or all the other guys. So I think that's why Shopify is going down, but which is sad because the infrastructure layer is really, really hard, but they should have been maybe more ambitious, maybe more risky. They should have done something like Facebook. Facebook takes so much risk with a lot putting a lot of money into them in something crazy. And
Exactly.
Shopify just never did that. They just never said, okay, you know what, fuck it, we just build our own Shopify data centers. And that was a huge mistake, which they are paying really expensive right now.
Okay.
We spoke about a lot of things, Michael.
We did, didn't we?
Much to
Why don't we end it here? I think today's discussion again was amazing. And I think
Yeah,
tying those two things together, we talked about this idea of pricing power and actually then flipping it on the other side and saying, like, where is this money going to go into
yeah,
infrastructure? I think is going to be one of the key messages that we're going to have to consider going forward.
yeah. I think the more we talk about it, Michael, the more I feel like we are going there. Right.
No, I agree completely.
the more I feel we are going there. It's just the beginning. We need to see what AI V2 is going to be. Everything's going to be accelerated once we start to have use cases with AI V2. AI V2 being, we don't know yet, right? Open source,
No.
AI on device, subscription model that get profitable because Opus or GPT 5.5 they find a way to make it super cheap. There's a lot of things going on right now. Yeah, let's see how it goes. But yeah, thank you very much everyone for all of your questions.
We love it.
Super interesting. And if you have more questions, we'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m.
And share the show with all of your friends. Let's have more people come join us. That's it today for AGTP Daily. You know, as Martin was saying, give us a thumbs up on today's video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That helps us out a lot. Follow us on all of our socials, on X, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. And let us know, as you have been this entire show, what you're interested in, how you're interested in it. And we'll be back again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. My name is Michael Waits.
I'm Martin Montfort, and we love this conversation around AI,
We love it.
software, infrastructure. But also, I feel that's because we use AI every day ourselves,
day.
right? So, like, my first point of view is like myself as a user, what do I do, right? Like, what do I use?
Yeah.
What do I want to do? And as a business owner, I want to be ready for what's next, right? I don't want to be surprised, right? So,
No, and we want everybody else who owns a business or who
Exactly.
runs a business or who's senior in a business to understand like what they should be thinking about.
yeah, exactly. And that's why if you have insight as well on your side, if you see things, and mainly I think pay attention to your own behaviors. That's what I do myself. I look at my own
Yeah, same.
behaviors, right? Like Michael, same for you. Like, yeah, how do we want to solve this problem? What's the best solution for us, right? And that's really give a hint about, okay, what does the future solution, what does the future product should look like? So that's really important. But yeah, thank you very much,
Agreed.
everyone. See you tomorrow.
Bye for now.
Bye bye.